So this week on the Idiot Quilter Presents Musings, I want to examine my own personality here a little bit. And that is, I got thinking the other day, am I a competitive person? Would other people look at me who know me and say, yep, Steve's a competitive person? I don't think I am, but maybe I am. Now, for example, what made me start thinking about this was someone made a comment on one of the online groups I belong to that, holy crap, when do you find the time to do all of those quilts that you create? And your quilts are so beautiful. You're so good. You should enter them in contests. Well, first of all, my ego is very well stroked when people say those things to me. I mean, you have to remember, I've only been quilting now for, I think this is the start of my 5th year of quilting. I went into it in a big way and I haven't stopped since. And that's also why I have so many quilts done. Am I running in a race with this? No. Am I in competition with other people to, in terms of quantity? No, I am not. It's a hobby. It's fun. If you start imposing deadlines on yourself, if you start feeling that you have to compare yourself with other people, if you feel that you've got to be number one in terms of how much output you do, that's not fun anymore. But of course, that is the trait of a competitive person. I am competitive to a certain degree. I'm in competition with myself. I challenge myself. I challenge myself all the time. When I see a project that I really like, but then the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, oh, I don't think I could ever do that, I stop and I go, why can't I? How do I know I can't? Unless I try, right? Don't defeat yourself before you actually give something a go. What's the worst thing that can happen? You get started on the project and you find it is out of your comfort zone and it's out of your technical zone, and you need to back off a little bit and maybe develop those skills a little bit more, then come back to it if you wish and do it. There's nobody standing over you with a big stick saying you better learn how to do this and you better perfect that technique. It's like free motion quilting. We all want to do feathers, don't we, on that? And what do we hear from the people who can do feathers? It took practice, it took time. Well, I'm an impatient person. I am. I don't want to take the time. I want to be good at it immediately. So maybe that's being competitive. I want to be the best at whatever I attempt to do. I want to have perfection. Is there such a thing as perfection? There is not. But yes, inside myself, I will rip things out if it's not perfect. Do I have flaws in the quilts I make? Are they all perfect? I don't have one that's perfect. There is a mistake of some sort, and at some level, in everything I make. But sometimes you can't sweat over that. What's the expression? Done is better than perfect. But yes, I am competitive about that. Now, if I'm going to give something to somebody, I want it to be perfect. Why? It's a competitive nature. It's because I want them to say nice things to me after they get it. I don't want them to pull a Walter like he does with me and go, you made a mistake right there. Thank you. May you be hit by a car. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. It's good to be stroked. However, I think that's part of a competitive nature. Nah, I can do something you can't do, and I can do it really well. Now, when it gets bad in competition, and I have seen this, is our retreats. There are some people that go to a retreat and they want to show off what they're working on, and they want to tell you how fast they did it, and it's all look at me, look at me, look at me, isn't this great, isn't this wonderful? And they are the type of person who, yes, they are competitive because they're comparing themselves with other people. And we're all at different skill levels when it comes to quilting. And I always feel sorry for those who are, maybe it might be their first retreat, because they may feel a little bit apprehensive. They may not want to show their work. They may feel that they're not up to snuff here, that they can't compete. Well, there's the first mistake. They're saying they have a feeling they need to compete. No. You turn those people off that come to you and go, so what are you working on now? Oh yeah, I did one of those once and it turned out beautiful. It was just lovely and I did it in 2 days. And it was no problem at all, whatever. And I never had that kind of problem. And I just want to kill those kind of people. I do. Because they're adding pressure to the situation. And I'm sure everybody that's listening to this have experienced that type of person who gets on your nerves because they're always better than you. At least they think they are. Well, we can't let that happen, can we? Take a look at something like Facebook and all the different groups that are on there that deal with quilting. And people are constantly showing what they have created. And I'm one of those people. I belong to a couple of those groups. And when I get a project done, I post it and show it to people. And yes, people usually are kind and they come back and say nice things about it. And I like that. It strokes my ego. But it's so easy to be competitive because you throw up something you're really proud of, and then somebody else throws up a picture of what they've just created, and you look at it and go, oh my God, that is so much better than mine. Or I could never do that. Or they're just so wonderful. They've got a different project online here every other day. How do they do it? And it creates stress because it's feeding into your competitive nature. Again, depending on how competitive you are, I think that makes it even more stressful for you. So the people who are constantly showing what they've created, constantly talking about or bragging about what they've done and the whole bit, those people are putting more stress on themselves than they are on anybody else, if you think about it. And everybody knows somebody who's had a nervous breakdown because of their job or whatever. And if you look at why they've had that nervous breakdown, probably a lot of it is to do with their competitive nature. They feel they're not winning the competition. Well, quilting is not a competition. Oh, yes, there are the shows, right? We all love the shows. We want to see the ones that won the ribbon. And I have to say, when I first got into quilting, that's what I wanted. I wanted a ribbon. I wanted to enter a show. I wanted to be good enough to do that. And I want to win a prize. I want to be world renowned. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And I'm over that now. And you know why? Because those quilts that go into those shows, those people have spent a lot of time and effort on. Every stitch is perfect or near to perfect. And they have dwelt on that, worked on that for a long, long time. Are they competitive? Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are, because that's the only way you can get a quilt of that quality that's show worthy. That's the only way. That's the only drive you have that's going to allow you to complete something on that level. So I suppose that might be a positive thing about being competitive. But at the end of it all, does anybody really truly remember in 2016 who won best quilt in show or whatever? Unless they're the person that won that. Do the rest of us really remember that? Probably not. And does it really alter our lives? No, it doesn't. So I guess maybe having a little bit of the competitive spirit is a good thing, because it's a driving force. It makes you move on. It makes you challenge yourself. But I think the only competition any human being really needs is to compete with themselves and have realistic goals in mind too. I would love to be able to do perfect feathers, but I know to do feathers and to get to that level, it takes a lot of time, patience, and practice. And do I want to dedicate that much of my life to that? No. There are other projects I want to work on. I mean, sure, I may try them, and I might get mediocrely not too bad at it. But right now that's not my goal in life. It's to create wonderful feathers. I don't think I am competitive. I have a little bit of the competitive spirit, but it's not taking over my life. And I hope it doesn't take over your life either. Just remember why we do this. Why are we quilters? We do it because we enjoy it. And keep the joy in what you're doing and don't worry about the other stuff. Okay. Bye.